This is the third video I'm doing in the Aaron's Picks series, which is a year-long series where I'm going to release a video every week that gradually starts building, starting with what guitars to buy, what picks to get, guitar amplification, guitar strings, all the very basics, as if you're just going out and buying your guitar today, all the way through a year's worth of music studies. So one of the problems that I have with YouTube is when new students go out, grab a guitar, get all excited to start learning music, one of the first things they do is just dive into YouTube, which can be terrible due to the lack of organization and a number of other problems I'm not going to get into right now. But I think it would help a lot to have somebody go through a curriculum and curate a bunch of videos that are already done that address those topics within a curriculum. So that's basically what I'm doing. I have a whole lesson plan for a year for beginner guitar players, and I'm essentially just going to curate and delegate other people's videos to teach those lessons because I don't have time to teach beginner guitar lessons right now. But if you can organize YouTube and you can get all that together in a way that makes sense, there's a ton of good information out there. So that's what this series is about. So this is the third one, and we're going to be hanging out in what kind of guitars to get. Then we're going to get into what kind of amps to get. Then we're going to get into strings and picks and stuff like that for a few weeks. And then it'll start getting into actual guitar lessons, note names on the neck, chord shapes, changing chords, learning songs, arpeggios, triads, inversions of triads, all that stuff. Like I said, it's going to be a year's worth of stuff. So there's a lot going on. Okay, so today I'm getting into acoustic guitars. So there's 3 videos that I found that I think are pretty good videos that will give you a good overview on what to look for in an acoustic guitar, what kinds of questions to ask, who to ask, and how to go about getting a solid acoustic guitar. So the first one I picked is called Our Favorite Acoustic Guitars from $200 to $1,000 by Alamo Music Center. So this is a good one because A, it's coming from a music store, and those people know their guitars inside out generally, and they know the audience well. So they're used to answering questions from all kinds of people, and they know the market. They know what's coming out that's new. They know what's coming up in the near future, especially if they're going to the NAMM show and things like that. They should be on top of it. And they have a lot of experience, fitting guitars to the right people. So getting a perspective from a music store is a good idea. Not only can you do that in this music or in this YouTube video, but you can go do it in real life. It doesn't hurt to dip into a music store if you can find one and just ask these people, what their thoughts are based on what you're looking for. So anyway, Our Favorite Guitars, $200 to $1,000. I like this video because not only does he get into price range, but he gets into things like the size of the guitar, various different guitar qualities, various different guitar brands. He names off a number of them that are really good, starting with just a basic starter pack and going all the way up through Taylor guitars. So it's a good beginner video. It'll give you some things to consider before you go out and buy a guitar. The second video that I think is a good video, I think it's a really good video actually, because this gives you a lot of things to consider that you might not know anything about as a new guitar player, and especially a new acoustic guitar player. So this video is called What I Wish I Knew Before I Bought an Acoustic Guitar by Rhett Shull again. And he gets into a lot of practical things to look for. And one of them is super important that I didn't even think about. So I'm going to bring that up in a second. But he gets into the sound of the guitar. He gets into body types. He gets into things like setting up your acoustic guitar or having your acoustic guitar set up. So you need to know about setups. You're going to be doing setups for the rest of your musical life. So he gets into what those are. Generally, a setup can run you between $30 and $70, and what it is it's basically a tune-up for your guitar, and it kind of gets it into playing shape for you. So a lot of things are adjusted and tweaked. I'm not going to get into a ton of details about what a setup is, but basically, when you go out and get a guitar, the first thing you want to do after you get that guitar is have it set up. So that's important. He gets into that. He gets into body sizes. He probably gets into price points and a few other things. So it's a good overall video, but the really important thing, and the reason I picked this video, is he gets into an issue called neck resets. And that is a problem, especially if you're getting a used guitar. So what'll end up happening With acoustic guitars and with archtop guitars in particular, if they're in a place that has a lot of humidity, if they're in a place that doesn't have enough humidity, if they're not stored correctly, if whatever, just age, like guitars are made of wood and that wood moves. So what ends up happening is where the guitar meets the body, where the neck meets the body of the guitar, that'll start to shift around. And what will end up happening is it'll start really buzzing up there. And to accommodate for that, when people are doing a setup for your guitar, they'll raise the level of the strings off the neck to accommodate for that if they can't do these other tweaks to fix it. So what you end up happening if you need a neck reset is you get all kinds of buzzing. You have the strings raised up above the neck. It makes the playability really difficult. And the best part is it costs at least $300. You can get it fixed, and I've had them done. They're inevitable over time. A lot of the time, I mean, I've had more neck resets than I can remember, but they're not cheap. They're $300 or $400, so you better like that guitar. So if you're looking at used guitars or even new ones, I would make sure that you play around the 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fret all over there, and make sure that you can hear those notes nice and clear and that the height of the strings is not uncomfortable for you. If it is, then I would start asking questions about that neck. Because that's a major problem. That's a $300 problem. And if you just went and bought a $200 guitar, $250 guitar, and now you have a $300 neck reset issue on top of a $70 setup, it's a nightmare. So I would absolutely, with acoustic guitars and archtop guitars, I would watch out for neck resets. And I would ask the person selling it to you, especially if you get it at a music store. So when you're just starting out, it's probably not a bad idea to buy new until you start learning what you're looking for. So this last video is pretty basic. It just gets into some basic things that you need to know and a little bit of extra tips and hints that help you along your way to getting a good acoustic guitar. But basically, the bottom line is when you're looking for an acoustic guitar, you want something whose price is in your range. You want something that feels good, even though you can't really play yet, but you know, do the best you can, I guess. Or bring somebody with you who does play, and they can tell you whether or not it feels good. I can tell you if a guitar feels like it's going to be worthwhile for a beginner, or if it's just going to be a total nightmare. So you might want to bring somebody who already knows how to play with you. That's probably a good idea. Don't be afraid to go into music stores and play new ones off the wall. Make sure you ask around, ask a lot of people, and don't be afraid to ask questions and take your time. I would take your time when you're trying to find an acoustic guitar that fits. Because you don't want to have any regrets later. And when you do get one that fits and it lines up with what you're looking for, then you could have that thing forever. You could have that thing for decades, especially if you take care of it. So that's it for acoustic guitars. And then I think next week we'll be getting into amplifiers and start going down that road a little bit. All right, take it easy. Good luck.